right, what's up everybody, and welcome to the virtual 10-week transformation experience performance tests. Performance tests are such a great indication of growth across time. So what we're getting ready to do before week 1 is you're gonna do a series of 4 tests, and then we're gonna repeat those same 4 tests at the end of week 10. That way you can see how much strength you've gained, how much stamina you've gained in all different parts of the body. So we're gonna have 4 different tests. We're gonna have an upper body test, a cardio test, a core test, and then a lower body test. It's really important that we get a really solid baseline, meaning that you really push yourself as much as you can. You really have good form, and you know exactly what it is that you do, so that we can compare apples to apples in week 1 and week 10, and you don't do it differently in week 1 than you would in week 10. So we're gonna go ahead and dive into test number 1. Test number 1 is gonna be push-ups for 1 minute. Now, I'm not gonna be doing the tests with you today. I'm just gonna talk you through them so you know exactly how to perform them on your own. So you're gonna do push-ups for 60 seconds for 1 minute, and a few different things to keep in mind when you're doing these push-ups. Number 1, what type of push-up are you gonna do? Are you gonna do a normal push-up on your toes on the floor? Are you gonna do a push-up on your toes, but with your hands on the edge of a bench, so on an elevated surface? Or are you gonna do push-ups on your knees? Or are you gonna do push-ups on your knees with your hands on a bench on an elevated surface? That's kind of like the most challenging version of a push-up, all the way down to the easiest version of a push-up. I want you to choose one type. If you can do them on your toes, great. If you do them on your knees, great. Pick one type of push-up and stick to that for the entire 60 seconds and see how many you're able to get. Second thing I want to talk about with regards to push-ups is your form. I want you to make sure you get good depth, meaning all the way down for every single push-up that you do. Second thing I want you to keep in mind is the positioning of your hands. Oftentimes when I see people do push-ups, their hands are out in front of them and then their face is in between their hands at the bottom of the push-up, when your fingertips should really be at the bottom of your chin when you're doing a push-up. So make sure that you've got that down as well. And then lastly, make sure your hands are positioned a little bit wider than shoulder width apart, not super wide, not super narrow, a little wider than shoulder width, and make sure your elbows kind of go back at about a 45-degree angle. We don't want the elbows to go straight out. We don't need them super tight. We want them about out at a 45-degree angle. So make sure you got your form down. Make sure you choose the specific type of push-up that you want to do, and you're going to time yourself for 1 minute and see how many you get. You'll write that number down, and after you complete that performance test, I want you to rest about 5 minutes. Rest 5 minutes before you get into performance test number 2, which is going to be your cardio test, which is going to be your favorite one. It's going to be burpees for 1 minute. You're going to see how many burpees you can complete in 1 minute. So on this, once again, you want to make sure you select the appropriate type of a burpee. So are you going to go down into a plank and then up to a jump? Are you going to go down all the way into a push-up and up to a jump? Or do we need to step it back 1 foot at a time? So select the appropriate version of a burpee for you, whatever's most appropriately challenging for you based off of where you're coming from. And again, you're going to time yourself for 1 minute, giving yourself a total number of reps. So you're gonna be pretty tired by the end of that minute, but make sure you write down how many reps you got. Then you're gonna rest for another 5 minutes to make sure you're fully recovered before going into your core test. So the core test is gonna be one of 2 different options. I'll give you the more advanced option to begin with. It's gonna be power sit-ups. So power sit-ups, where you're laying down, your legs are straight, your arms are overhead, and then you're swinging your body up, bringing your chest to your knees, and then you're all the way out, and you can rest your heels in between every single rep. I actually do want you to rest your heels in between every single rep. Now, you're doing that exercise for, wait for it, 3 minutes. 3 minutes is gonna seem like eternity. It's gonna seem like hell when you're doing it, but it's 3 minutes. Take your breaks as you need to, but you're seeing how many power sit-ups that you can do in 3 minutes. Again, you wanna make sure your lower back gets all the way off the floor in between reps. You wanna make sure that you're not pulling your knees in at the top of the rep. So lower back has to get off the floor, not pulling your knees in. How many can you do in 3 minutes? Now, if power sit-ups is out of the question for you right now, then your option is to do a plank hold for as long as possible. Just hitting that plank hold for as long as you can. If that's your option, make sure your butt's not sticking up in the air. Keep your hips down, keep your elbows directly underneath your shoulders. So we hit upper body, cardio, core. Last one is your lower body test. This one's a little bit different format-wise. We have 2 exercises. You're gonna do 5 rounds of them, and you wanna see how quickly you can complete those 5 rounds. Now make sure after your core test, you give yourself about 5 minutes rest again before going into this lower body test. So first exercise is gonna be goblet squats. You'll have 1 dumbbell up at shoulder height, squatting all the way down, and then back up. The second exercise is going to be jump squats, squatting down, adding that jump at the top. If the jump is out of the question for you, let's hit a squat to a calf raise. Now this one, again, 5 rounds. The rep counts are as follows: 15 on the goblet squats, and 5 on the jump squats. The jump squats will always stay at 5. The goblet squats will decrease in reps from round to round. It'll go 15, 5, 12, 5, 10, 5, 8, 5, 6, 5. How quickly can you get it done? I want you to write down the weight that you use. I want it to be kind of a medium dumbbell. I want you to make sure you write down the weight that you use, so you use the exact same weight at the end of week 10 when we're repeating this performance test. So again, guys, push-ups for 1 minute. How many can you get? Then rest for 5 minutes in between. The second test is gonna be your cardio test for burpees for 1 minute, then rest for 5. Then your core test, either power sit-ups for 3 minutes or a plank hold for as long as you can. Then again, rest for 5 minutes. Lastly, you're gonna have that lower body test, which is how quickly can you complete those 5 rounds of goblet squats and jump squats. Make sure you write down exactly what you are able to do here before week 1, so you know exactly how much strength you build, how much stamina you build by the time we're done with week 10. Make sure you get your timer out when you're ready. Let's rock and roll. Good luck.